Welcome back to another episode of talking about things I'm not qualified to talk about. Today we're in the macro data refinement wing of the severed floor of Lumen. As soon as I leave, I will have no recollection of filming this, and I will be stuck in an infinite loop of recreating this exact video. Before I get into the main thing, I wanted to say I find it really convenient having the massive sum of one subscriber. It really alleviates any and all pressure to maintain or keep a good upload schedule. Because, yeah, it turns out part of that whole chasing your dreams thing, shout out my last video that got 3 views, involves having your second monitor, which is vital to making the style of content you want to make, getting lost in transit for 2 weeks. Oh boy, I'm tanking. Anyways, I wanted to yap a little bit about psychology, specifically, why do we choose to follow bad? Just leave a little bit of time for me to edit in the Peter Griffin clip. Anyways, it's an indisputable fact that humans are social creatures, self-preserving ones at that, and we act in our own best interests, sometimes to the detriment of those around you. I'm not being nihilistic here or anything. I know people can genuinely love and care for others. I'm referring to like the grand scheme of things overall. Now I'm genuinely about to compare myself to a dictatorship, but take North Korea, for example. I'm sure a significant portion of their military and government are, like real people who actually care for others, but they're terrified of being the next one to step out of line. They're scared of being the next example, I'm sure. That's the optimist in me speaking. But I'll give a little piece on myself here. I used to be awful, like, just downright egregious. And I take no pride or joy in this fact. I regret who I was deeply. And I don't know if you're into all that, so I won't mention it any further. But I got into religion, and that's how I bettered myself. I was wondering why that dude in the back was holding still, but it's Loki. I just realized I'm playing Strange into Devil Dino. I'm about to have no fun. Okay. I love how the team up lines are like I don't know, imagine a photo collage. You got like the pictures that he already has all. You got like the pictures in like the foreground and the background and all that. The team of voice lines between Sue and Strange, it's like they're in the foreground. They stand out so much. I'm I'm playing terribly here because I'm a bit distracted, but you're not here for the gameplay. You're here for me. I'm the star of the show. Okay. Anyways, yeah, what I mean when I say I was like awful and such, I mean like I know, I was your typical teenager, like I'm gonna die. I was your typical teenager perishing. Uh, like I would cuss others out, you say obscenities, whole 9 yards, which, like, yeah, me and every other 15-year-old boy with an internet connection and access to Fortnite. But I'd say my case was a little bit different, because I used to play this social game on VR called Rec Room, rest in peace if you know, and I would literally spend hours of my life in like the main area where everyone hangs out, and I would single someone out. They didn't have to provoke me or do anything I didn't like, but I would just target anyone and say awful things. Okay, what's Spider-Man doing back there? He's doing whatever a spider can. I'm so funny. Okay, he's being an actual problem. Punisher, come back. This is rough. Okay. More time to talk. But yeah, like I would just say awful things and insult anything that I could receive with my senses, like their outfit was ugly, their voice was annoying. I would assume they had poor hygiene and self-care, just stuff like that. And why am I still playing Strange? But anyways, yeah, like it was different from your usual queue into a game, get into banter, never see them again in 20 minutes because I would do this for like an hour, multiple hours at a time. It was just dependent on how I thought part of Grimm's immovability was he couldn't be grabbed, but I was wrong. Yeah, I would do this for like an hour, several hours, depending on how willing the person was to defend themselves. But an interesting thing I noticed as I kept that up was I would find myself more often than not garnering a crowd of people agreeing with me. Kill him. Oh yeah. And I'm so dead here. I was 100%, like without any exception, always in the wrong. And I'll reiterate, it was always unprovoked, always went too far. So, giving it some thought recently really piqued my interest as to why I would end up with the agreeing crowd instead of the person who deserved to be defended. I'm switching to Penny because I forget she has a 3-second stun, and Devil Dinosaur is huge, and he's the biggest problem right now. Okay. Sorry, I got it. Alright, Namor. I don't know, you're just built different. Anyways, yeah, I think that's where the self-preservation thing comes into play, is that people would see me like, so confident in my own malfeasance and so self-assured in my own evil that they would not only wish to avoid being the next target of my stupidity, but they would hear that I was louder and more. Okay. They would hear that I was louder and more self-assured, basically. And it would lure them because it's easier to side with the bad than to defend the good. And like, here's another case you might be more understanding of. You ever find yourself like on the game with your friend and you reflect on the last 30 minutes to an hour or so and you think of the dozens of times you've done nothing but complain? By you, I mean like you and your friend, of course. But, like, take this game, Marvel Rivals, for example. I just got my neck broken by that Phoenix. Like, there's always something that's not your fault. For example, that wasn't my fault because I'm flawless. Like the healers are distracted or the DPS isn't DPSing, the tanks aren't peeling like me, I'm not peeling at all, like whatever. But some weird part of that self-preservationist mindset involves never taking blame and never being wrong. That that's rough. There goes point. Um, I hope he steps over here. And that just like those are two completely different talking points, but at the same time, my aim sucks. At the same time, they're the same because at the end of the day, it's dude, this sucks. At the end of the day, it's choosing to be objectively wrong. Oh, got him. It's choosing to be objectively wrong because it's either easier or it's safer. But I digress. I just find it so interesting how we work. And that said, I'm still not going to school for it because I'm too lazy. It's so raps, yeah. I really hope you didn't click on this video for top-notch gameplay because you're not going to get any of that here, considering I'm very distracted. I'm also not good at this whole talking to a camera thing, so I literally have a Google Doc open to the side that I'm reading stuff off of. I'm not doing that now because I got to the end of the script because I'm just so efficient and I'm so proficient with my time and other words that end with efficient. All right, we locked in. We got that point. Um, I've run out of things to talk about now. I was really anticipating this game either not lasting that long or me being able to stretch out 10 paragraphs into a full match. Namor swap. That's probably the Spider-Man. He's going 8-6 now because of our Namor. Yeah, this is definitely like totally my fault. I'm going 11-6. And I have like a grand total of 2 final hits. This is rough. Couldn't get that one. Anyways, don't comment. I can't read still.